Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're exploring a set of sources that, well, at first glance, they seem almost like a simple guide.
Yeah, just a language lesson.
Exactly, like how to describe a person in English. You'd think it's just about vocabulary.
But as we started digging in, it became clear there was so much more. There's a structure here.
A profoundly efficient one. It's this universal structure for observation.
It really is. And our goal here isn't just to learn the language, it's to pull out that structure, to get to the blueprint that makes any description of a person precise and, memorable.
And for you, the listener, the mission is pretty simple. It's about gaining this organizational knowledge fast.
Mm-hmm.
If you can quickly check off the three big components we found, appearance, personality, and defining details, you can just bypass all that information overload.
And you immediately sound more well-informed, more insightful.
So let's organize our deep dive the same way the sources do. We'll start with the physical canvas, the external frame.
Right, and then we'll move inside to the core personality traits.
And finally, we'll get to the nuances, those sticky little details that make someone unforgettable.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, let's jump right into segment one. Building the physical canvas. I really love how methodical this is.
It's so logical, isn't it?
It instructs us to begin with the broadest strokes first, before you even think about zooming in.
Which is just great advice for any kind of communication. Think about it. You walk into a room, what's the first thing your brain processes?
Scale and scope.
Exactly. So the sources tell us, start with the essentials, tall or short, young or older, and general body type.
It gives you these anchors immediately. The examples are so clean, like he is tall and slim.
Or she is short with a strong build.
And just like that, you have the frame of the person sketched out. Instantly. There's no ambiguity.
And if you're trying to describe someone quickly, say in a meeting, starting with those general things, height, maybe an age estimate, it lets your listener build that basic visual.
Right, before you complicate it with specifics.
Yep.
It prevents that mental fuzziness. So from that general scale, the sources get very specific about where to go next, and they really focus on hair.
Oh, yeah. What's fascinating here is that hair isn't treated as some optional detail.
No, it's a required,
A checklist.
a three-part checklist. Exactly.
That's the structural insight right there. It's not enough to just say brown hair.
You can't. To get a vivid image, you need 3 dimensions every single time: length, type, and color.
So you have to say long, wavy brown hair.
Or short, straight black hair.
Mm-hmm.
By forcing you to hit all 3 lengths, texture, color, the description just feels complete.
And the listener doesn't have to fill in the blanks.
It's a great trick for memory, too. If you're describing someone, those 3 parts help anchor the visual.
It's like you're painting a quick portrait, and hair is one of the biggest parts of that canvas.
So then moving down the face, we get to eyes and expression. This is where, so much communication and emotion is conveyed.
Right. And the examples are things like, she has big green eyes and a friendly smile.
And what's important there is you're not just listing a color. You have to describe the impact of the feature.
That's a good point. Saying someone has bright blue eyes is way more evocative than just blue eyes.
And specifying a friendly smile,
Yeah.
that adds contour. It adds character to the canvas.
It's about observation, not just identification. You're not just seeing features, you're perceiving the expression they create.
And the sources wrap this all up really nicely with a complete example.
Let's look at it. It says, my best friend is tall and athletic. She has long, curly blonde hair, blue eyes, and she always wears colorful clothes.
That one sentence is like a mini masterclass. You get height and build,
Check.
detailed hair, eye color.
Yep.
And this is crucial, they slip in that detail about clothing.
The colorful clothes, that's a really interesting detail.
It is, because it's the perfect bridge. It's still appearance, but it leans toward style, toward intentionality.
Which shifts us perfectly from the physical container to what's inside. Personality.
Perfect transition. That takes us right into segment 2, defining the core.
So once you've got the physical presence down, you have to define the character. And the sources give us this really solid list of traits.
Heavily leaning toward the positive, I notice.
Yes, very much so.
They give us kind, friendly, funny, shy, confident, creative, patient, honest, hardworking, a lot.
Energetic, responsible, sensitive. It covers a lot of ground.
But here's the critical structural insight. This is the aha moment that lifts this whole thing way beyond a simple vocab guide.
The show don't just tell mandate.
Exactly.
If you're a learner focused on efficient communication, this is probably the most valuable piece of advice in the whole thing.
It fundamentally changes how you describe something. I mean, we can all list adjectives,
Sure.
but an adjective is just a label. The sources demand you back that label up with specific, observable behavior.
The evidence becomes the currency of communication. It's brilliant.
It really is. If you just say someone is kind or generous, that's still kind of vague, right? It's open to interpretation.
But if you give a concrete action, the trait becomes undeniable and way more memorable.
The example they use is just so effective. You don't just say, she is generous.
You anchor it in reality.
She is generous. She always shares her food.
Boom. Think about the difference that makes. The narrative weight. If I say someone is hardworking, you nod.
Mm-hmm.
But if I tell you he is hardworking, he's always the first one in the office and stays late to help colleagues, now you have a scene in your mind.
The action validates the trait. And this rule trait plus behavioral proof is used over and over in their sample profiles.
Right, like with their friend Daniel. The label is friendly and energetic.
And the proof.
The proof is that he loves meeting new people and he is always ready to help.
And it's layered. He's also hardworking and responsible.
Mm.
And you know that because the context implies he actually follows through on being helpful.
You're always connecting that inner trait to an outer action.
Then you have the sister profile,
Mm.
creative and sensitive.
And again, the sources immediately give you the proof points.
She loves drawing and writing stories and is patient with children. The drawing and writing confirms creative.
And the patience she shows confirms sensitive.
This just moves us away from these, vague, lazy descriptions.
It teaches us to look for the evidence of personality, not just the word that summarizes it.
Yes, in a professional setting, you wouldn't just call a colleague confident. You'd describe how they present data without hesitation.
And how they field difficult questions.
This insight alone is worth the price of admission for this deep dive.
I agree. It ensures your descriptions are insightful, not just superficial.
And speaking of insight, that brings us so naturally to the final piece of the structure, the elements that capture individuality.
Segment 3, the sticky details.
These are the specifics that aren't about height or core moral traits, but they're the things that stick with you.
The idiosyncratic habits, the signature style choices, the overall vibe.
Yes, the vibe. They humanize the description. They're the flavor, the spice.
And the source material lists some great specific habits that immediately bring a person into 3D.
Like he loves wearing hats.
Or she always carries a book.
Or maybe the slightly more disruptive, he laughs loudly.
Right. None of those are core personality traits like kindness, but they are defining characteristics of that person's presence.
And it shows how powerful these small details are. If you know someone is shy but also laughs loudly, that contrast is so defining.
Or if they always carry a book, you instantly understand something about their interests.
So let's synthesize this whole thing by going back to that description of the colleague, Sarah. This is where we see all three parts woven together.
Perfectly.
The sources start with the physical canvas. Sarah is in her early 30s, tall, medium-length, curly brown hair, warm eyes, bright smile.
Clear, efficient. The setup is done.
And then, right after, we get her core personality, but it's seamlessly integrated with her sticky details. She's friendly, kind, creative.
Okay, those are the labels.
Now for the proof, which comes in the form of her habits and style.
The source continues. She loves painting, wears colorful earrings, brings homemade snacks.
And the key is to see how these final details act as the behavioral evidence for her traits.
Oh, that's it. Her love of painting and wearing colorful earrings? That's the concrete proof for the label creative.
Exactly. And the act of bringing homemade snacks is the perfect, tangible evidence for kindness and friendliness.
It's the full circle.
The structure forces you to use the sticky details not just as, interesting add-ons, but as the proof that validates the personality traits.
Because if you just listed tall, kind, wears earrings, it feels flat. But when the details support the traits, the whole description becomes vivid.
And this whole framework is designed for immediate use. The sources even challenge you to do a mini exercise.
Right. Think of someone you know and deliberately describe them using this three-part structure.
But don't just list adjectives. Find the actions.
Find the proof.
So what does this entire deep dive really mean for you? It means you can abandon the idea that describing someone well requires a massive vocabulary.
Not at all. Efficient communication really just comes down to structural organization.
And now we have our three shortcuts: appearance, personality with proof.
And sticky details.
If you follow that checklist, you ensure balance and depth.
Exactly. You start with the external facts, the canvas. You define the core identity through behaviors, the evidence. And you finish by adding those memorable, humanizing details.
That is the formula.
It really is.
That's a perfect summary. But here is the final provocative thought we pulled from this material. It builds on that critical insight of show, don't tell.
Okay.
The sources, as we said, they focus almost entirely on positive traits, but they do acknowledge that negative ones exist.
Right. And this raises a really important structural question for you to think about.
If positive traits like generosity need a specific behavior like sharing food to be memorable, then what single specific behavior best defines a challenging or negative trait?
Say, arrogance or impatience.
If you're describing someone who is genuinely rude,
Yeah.
is that one isolated action? Maybe it's cutting someone off mid-sentence.
Or refusing to acknowledge an apology.
That creates a more powerful and vivid picture than just labeling them rude.
Applying that show don't tell rule to the tricky parts of human character is a fascinating way to practice observation.
It forces you to look beyond the generalized label and find the specific action that carries all the emotional weight.
That's a great challenge for the week ahead.
That's it for this deep dive into the structure of description. We hope you feel more organized and ready to capture the world around you with precision.
Keep learning with us.
Bye.